Hey, Steelers Nation. You know the Pittsburgh Steelers are always striving for improvement, aiming to take that next big step toward greatness. Right now, there's a golden opportunity to make a splash in the NFL. And trust me, this is one you don't want to miss. But before we dive into today's major news, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for all the latest Steelers updates. Let's get into it. On Wednesday, huge news broke that could shake up the NFL landscape. Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf has officially requested a trade, and the team is open to exploring options. That means a game-changing weapon might be on the market. For the Steelers, who have a glaring need for a true wide receiver too, this could be the perfect chance to make a move. Metcalf has been one of the most dominant wide receivers since entering the league, posting 3 1,000-yard seasons. His unique blend of size, speed, and physicality makes him a nightmare for opposing defenses. Imagine pairing him with George Pickens. This duo could become one of the most feared in all of football. With Deontay Johnson set to depart after the 2024 season, adding Metcalf could completely overhaul the Steelers' offense. The news was first reported by NFL insiders Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, revealing that Metcalf met with the Seahawks front office on Wednesday, and both sides agreed to explore trade possibilities. Metcalf is in the final year of his contract with a manageable $8 million cap hit, making him a prime target for any team looking to acquire a star receiver. Of course, any team that lands him would likely work out a long-term extension to keep him around as a cornerstone of their offense for years. Now let's break down why this trade makes so much sense for Pittsburgh. First off, Metcalf's play style is exactly what the Steelers need. He's a big-bodied receiver who excels in contested catch situations, can stretch the field vertically, and brings a physicality that perfectly aligns with Pittsburgh's identity. Imagine trying to defend both Pickens and Metcalf on the field at the same time. That's a nightmare for any defense, and it would make life a lot easier for whoever's under center for the Steelers in 2025. Speaking of quarterbacks, whether it's Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, or someone else, having an elite receiving duo will only help the development and success of whichever quarterback takes the reins. The Steelers struggled with consistency on offense last season, and adding Metcalf could be just the missing piece needed to take the offense to the next level. But here's the million-dollar question. What will it take to land Metcalf? The asking price won't be cheap. The Seahawks are likely looking for at least a high draft pick, maybe a second-rounder or more, plus possibly a mid-round pick or a young player. But if the Steelers are serious about contending in the AFC, they need to be aggressive. Pittsburgh's front office has been cautious with blockbuster trades in the past, but this could be an opportunity they can't afford to pass up. GM Omar Khan came close to landing 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk last season, and this could be his chance to redeem himself by bringing in a player who could dramatically change the trajectory of the Steelers' offense. Metcalf's arrival would instantly elevate Pittsburgh's receiving corps, turning it into one of the best in the NFL. With George Pickens already on the rise, adding a proven playmaker like Metcalf would give the Steelers a dynamic 1-2 punch that could rival any duo in the league. Metcalf isn't just a deep threat. He's a fierce competitor who plays with an edge. His physicality and fiery attitude would fit perfectly with Pittsburgh's identity. And fans would love his passion and competitive spirit. If the Steelers want to make this happen, they need to act fast. Other teams will be in the mix for Metcalf, and Pittsburgh can't afford to sit around. We've seen elite receivers like Davante Adams, A.J. Brown, and Stephon Diggs change teams in recent years and make huge impacts. Metcalf could be the next one to do that for the Steelers. It's no secret that the AFC is loaded with offensive firepower. To keep up with teams like the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, and Ravens, the Steelers need more weapons. Adding Metcalf would instantly make Pittsburgh's offense a serious contender in 2025. On top of that, the Steelers also need to focus on securing T.J. Watt's future. With Max Crosby landing a huge deal with the Raiders, $106.5 million over 3 years, Watt is now in line for a contract extension that could reset the market. Watt signed a 4-year, $112 million extension back in 2021. But with just 1 year left on his deal and no guaranteed money, the Steelers must lock him up long-term. Watt is the heart and soul of Pittsburgh's defense, and keeping him in town is just as crucial as improving the offense. Interestingly, restructuring or extending Watt's deal could free up nearly $16 million in cap space, which could be used to help land Metcalf. Looking at the current roster, the Steelers need help at wide receiver. With only Pickens and Calvin Austin, the third returning as key contributors in 2024, Pittsburgh needs a true complement to Pickens, a player who can take pressure off him and help balance out the offense. According to Nick Farabor of Penn Live, Pittsburgh's top priority this offseason is to add another receiver. But don't mistake this move for a replacement of Pickens. He's a rising star, and the Steelers are committed to keeping him long-term. The goal here is to bring in someone who can balance the offense and provide another weapon for whoever is quarterbacking the Steelers in 2025. So who are the top candidates? There are a few intriguing names to keep an eye on. One possibility is Denver Broncos receiver Courtland Sutton, a big-bodied target who excels in contested catches. Pittsburgh reportedly had interest in him last year, and if Denver doesn't lock him into a long-term deal, the Steelers might make a move. Another name to watch is Christian Kirk of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pittsburgh was reportedly very interested in acquiring Kirk at last year's trade deadline, but the deal fell through when he broke his collarbone. If the Jaguars decide to move on from him, the Steelers could be there to swoop in. Finally, Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton is another possibility. Pittsburgh showed interest in him last season, and he could add solid speed and route-running ability to the receiver room. However, one major hurdle to these moves is the quarterback situation. According to Farabor, the Steelers won't make any moves at wide receiver until they figure out who will be under center. That makes sense. Before adding weapons, the Steelers need to know who's throwing the football. Let's talk about George Pickens for a moment. He's entering the final year of his rookie deal, and there's no denying that he's one of the most exciting young receivers in the league. In 2024, Pickens played 14 games, starting 12 and posted 900 yards with 3 touchdowns. If Pittsburgh had a more stable quarterback situation, those numbers could have been even better. Pickens was a second-round pick in 2022, and now the Steelers face a big decision. Do they lock him up now, or wait until after the 2025 season? Given his immense talent, locking him up early would be wise before his price tag skyrockets. So, what does all of this mean for Pittsburgh's offense in 2025? If the Steelers can land a true wide receiver too, it changes everything. It takes pressure off Pickens, opens up the field for the run game, and most importantly, it gives whoever the quarterback is more options to work with. Last season, the offense struggled, largely due to a lack of depth at wide receiver. The good news is there are plenty of options available, and Pittsburgh has a chance to make a serious upgrade this offseason. Steelers Nation, the ball is in Omar Khan's court. DK Metcalf is available, and Pittsburgh has a prime opportunity to make a move that could transform their offense. Should the Steelers go all in and trade for him? What about